That's the first question. Second question is, does it entail any
No, stop
change
right there.
in the nuclear...
No, stop right there. Stop right there. One question, one answer. Let there be a norm on that. Right? Let there be one question, one answer tonight. One question and one rebut. So the question is very simple, Siddharth. Congratulations to you. But congratulations for what?
Thank you. Thank you.
But congratulations for what? And congratulations, sorry Siddharth, at what cost? You see, no, one second. I'd like to remind you that Ravi Shankar Prasad, your present IT minister, September 2013 had said that the reports that the government, Congress government is trying to weaken the liability of the manufacturers as far as atomic reactors is concerned, plainly not acceptable. The security of the people of India is important. India's interest, India's sovereignty, India's nuclear autonomy are important. Murli Manohar Joshi said, in the same month, we are surrendering our sovereignty on the nuclear issue to US agencies. How can the Manmohan Singh government try to dilute the nuclear liability clause that deals with American nuclear firms for buying reactors? I'm just holding you to your words, Siddharth. Now respond. If you've done a U-turn, say we did a U-turn.
Well, you're holding to my... Okay. Arnab, can I speak, please? You know, the minute I start speaking, you say something. If you're holding to my words, to our party's words, to our leader's word, we still hold on to the same words. There is no mention that we will be ratifying or going back to the parliament to dilute the civil nuclear liability clauses of the bill. And what we have achieved today, we have found the very Alibaba to open the gates between India and US nuclear civil liability, which was stuck up for last 6 years. And that has been achieved without dilution of any of the clauses of the bill which has been passed by the parliament.
Who takes the liability?
And that has been achieved on 2 counts.
Who pays the liability? Indian taxpayer, Indian insurance companies, or who? The Americans?
Arnab, there is a insurance. There is an insurance pool.
No, who is the insurance pool? Is Indian state-owned insurance companies.
That's a 50%.
And where is the other 50% coming from? 750 crores the government gives.
Supplier. Well, hear me out, Mr. Arnab Goswami. It is for your, since you have asked the question, it is for your viewers. I'm trying to answer. That is the 50% comes from the government of India. The balance comes from the various suppliers who have a stake into it. Now, in case you are trying to say a big infrastructure project, which the government of India builds up, the insurance money which goes for or reinsurance of those projects doesn't come from the government of India, which is, in your case, which you want to highlight, is the taxpayers' money. It always happens so. So there's nothing new that you're trying to anybody else, my opposition, my adversaries are trying to direct it that it is the taxpayer. It is always the tax money.
No, what's counter from
infrastructure project?
Counters coming in. No. Sir, you see, this is sir, please, Mr. Siddharth Nath Singh.
This is the government.
Mr. Siddharth Nath Singh, you see, let's be very clear. No, Mr. Siddharth Nath Singh, we are not debating for debating's sake. You may have opposed for opposing sake. I am not saying, Siddharth, that what you have done today is wrong.
No, I'm not.
I am saying, have you done today what you promised not to do earlier?
No.
On the nuclear issue.
You have to answer, Mr. Arnab Goswami. You are debating. You want to debate for a debating stay. Have we diluted the nuclear liability bill?
No, sir, you see this. Sir, please, Mr. Siddharth Nath Singh. Mr. Siddharth Nath Singh, Kesavan's counter open debate after that.
So it is a welcome step, and the entire
the reports that the government, Congress government is trying to weaken the liability of the manufacturers as far as atomic reactors is concerned. Media is not a cheerleader.
Take something
Media is not a cheerleader.
On the sovereignty of the India.
I just want to ask you a question, please.
Let me ask you 2 questions.
That's a straight question. It's not a political pot shot. We are discussing in the interest of the Indian people. Let me ask you 2-3 doubts which everybody may have. First, you said you're not going to dilute the, Civil Nuclear Liability Act, which was passed. unanimously by the parliament. So you're saying that you won't undermine the national consensus. So we will have you on record that you're not going to change it, make no amendments to the act. Fine. I have still not received an answer. Are you going to ratify the Convention of Supplementary Compensation, which will in fact dilute and nullify the Civil Liability Act? We don't need to touch the Civil Liability Act, but by ratifying the CSC, you can annul the whole Nuclear Liability Act. That's a big problem. Third point, besides the liability issue of Section 46, let me complete. Section 46 says the US companies are liable to tort law. There is unlimited liability. How can you say that you struck a nuclear deal without addressing 46? The government said the Section 46 has not been addressed. So how can you have a deal without addressing Section 46?
Mr. Keshwan, Don't shout, yeah. You are screaming so much as if we are standing in the parliament.
No, don't be defensive.
Let's be civil on the civil nuclear liability bill. I'm not defensive. I'm telling you, you're shouting too much. Therefore, I'm telling you, you're shouting too much, my dear. All I'm saying is,
companies are liable to talk about unlimited liability. How can you say that you struck a nuclear deal without addressing 46?
I'm giving answer, but I don't know whether my voice is echoing or it's your voice which is echoing to you. But the issue is,
that's my voice.
There is, the CS which you have mentioned, the CS which you have mentioned was also raised 6 years back, and at that stage, it was your government's intention. It came out in a number of newspapers, and we had raised it that you can dilute the nuclear liability, and we had said that this should not happen, and we hold to that. So trust us. We have gone without diluting the nuclear liability bill which was passed during your regime under pressure, and we will not be doing it. We will not be doing anything to dilute the nuclear liability. The Indian law is voice which is against you. Good enough. But that should be good enough for you.
You're factually wrong. India signed the CSC in 2010. It's not 6 years back.
Which you have mentioned, the CS which you have mentioned was also raised. We said we will not allow. It was your government's intention. It came a number of newspapers, and we had raised it that you can dilute the nuclear liability. Civil nuclear
liability. It's time to open it up. And no, 1 second. It's time to open it up. 1 second.
You people
can I please, Siddharth, can I just, Siddharth,
we have managed to do it without compromising the sovereignty of India.
Okay, so Siddharth, I think there's Maruf, Navika, Sabina, a lot of people want to come into the debate. What are we debating? Just quick summary for this. I just want to summarize this in simple in terms of the viewer before handing over to you. No, may I just say, there is an Indo-US nuclear deal. Manmohan Singh wanted it desperately. Almost when he was unable to push it through because the left parties were against it, was ready to resign in 2008. He gets re-elected in 2009. For 5 years, Manmohan Singh is able to do nothing. One of the reasons Manmohan Singh is not able to move, I'm just putting it in context, Maruf, is because every time he wanted to move a little bit, the BJP jumped forth and the BJP said compromise of sovereignty, surrendering of sovereignty, our nuclear autonomy cannot be compromised, our long-term interests cannot be compromised. What was the basic issue of compromise, Maruf? It was this whole issue of if, God forbid, there is an accident, who takes the liability? Now there is a nuclear liability law. It holds the suppliers, in this case the American companies, directly liable, Maruf, as you agree, in case of a nuclear accident. While countries like the US have asked India to follow global norms in which the primary liability is with the operator, which in this case is an Indian-owned company, Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited. Point is, has the BJP slightly softened its position today? What does it appear to you, Maruf? Has there been a slight realism in the BJP's position?
Arnab, let me sort of try and simplify it for the common man. I think firstly, there is a lot of symbolism that goes with a US presidential visit, alongside which the Americans want a serious takeaway from India. As we all know, in the last several years, the big stumbling block has been, and a sore point for Washington has been, that while pushing for India's with the operator, acceptance in various non-proliferation forums, America has not got any advantage out of supporting India's energy waiver, and now, as President Obama has announced, in all the 4 other regimes. Now, both the Congress and the BJP, I assume in this case, have best national interests in mind. But I think the BJP government must be complimented for having pushed this through without breaking our law. However, you have raised a very important point, Arnab, that are the taxpayers or the Indian people finally going to pay for the liability clause which came into being in the shadow of the Bhopal gas tragedy, when the crescendo went up in Parliament and we ended up having a law which was far more heavier for the American private nuclear industry, which in case of Russia and France, the government-supported industry can handle, but the private industry didn't want to venture into it, but America wants a stake of India's energy pie. So clearly, if we are to move forward, and I'm not just talking of nuclear energy here, but there are a lot of other issues that have come out in Mr. Obama and Mr. Modi's meeting and their joint presser. The point at issue is, I think it has to be a question of give and take. We have to move forward. We can't be held hostage to laws that we have created with nothing
But these laws are acts of Parliament
in mind. But I think we need to move forward. So I think the long and short of it is, even both political parties and other major political parties, I would urge them that what do we get out of a nuclear deal? What do we get out of a nuclear deal? We get in the long run more energy for our cities. We can go into the next phase of energy production where the used uranium from these reactors would allow us to use our huge thorium supplies and make India an exporter of energy to the rest of the world by 2040, 2050 in that timeline. We'll be energy surplus. So let's move forward. Let us address the demands of the Indian people. And if we have to bypass it one way or the other, it's an investment in India's future.
Maruf,
so I think to that extent,
it's not. One second, Maruf.
I respect
Maruf, there are two debates tonight. There are two debates tonight. One debate is the merits of it. One debate, should we have nuclear power? In which case also there will be a contentious issue, because even Americans don't like nuclear power. The Japanese don't like nuclear power. The question is, will there be a political backlash? Will there be questions asked? Will these questions matter? Navika, let's take your perspective, please. And by the way, to all the others, I'm not going one by one. It's an open debate. Feel free to come in once again. Navika, will there be a political backlash to this?
Arnab, can I come in?
Let Navika come in after that.
There's going to be a political backlash,
Arnab. I'd like to come in because I can't see anyone.
Arnab, there's going to be a political backlash because whether you like it or not, this has been a season of posturing. Whether it was the BJP government in the UPA 2 regime when it was opposing the liability law and actually was asking for more and more stringent clauses to come up so that the
feel free to come in once again.
really
Navika, will there be a political backlash to this?
Let
Navika come in after that.
There's going to be a political backlash when they wear it themselves as pinching them, because when they get into this dialogue, there's going to be a political backlash because whether you like it or not, this has been a season of the operationalization. Whether it was the BJP government in the UPA 2 regime when it was opposing the liability law and actually look at the situation. This is not just about the nuclear deal. This is about the existence
Feel free to come in once again. Navika, will there be a political backlash to this?
There's going to be a political backlash when they wear this. Now, are we going to see, because when they get into this dialogue, there's going to be a political backlash because whether you like it or not, including the Congress party, which is the author of the nuclear deal, BJP government, we've seen the new regimes when it was opposing the liability law, the liability clause. Look at the situation. This is not just about the nuclear deal. This is about the existence.
Feel free to come in once again. Navika, will there be a political backlash to this?
There's going to be a political backlash when they wear this. Now, are we going to see when they get into this dialogue? There's going to be a political backlash because whether it's including the Congress party, which is the author of the nuclear deal, BJP government, we've seen the new regimes when it was opposing the liability law, the liability clause. Look at the situation. This is not just about the nuclear deal. This is about the existence. We've been given the party.
Which facts are these?
Where
Okay, 1 minute. Mr. Kesavan, please. I want to get Satyanath into the debate, please. May I get, there are 4 members of the debate, 4 panelists who have not spoken. It's 26 minutes past 8. It's 26 minutes past 8.
It doesn't, the bill doesn't go for a debate.
It's 27 minutes past 8 and I'm making a brief submission that please understand, ladies and gentlemen, just understand for a while. Navika, just a minute. Let's focus
for a debate to Parliament.
Kamal Mitra Chinoy, I'm coming. You see, the critical issue is this. I'll take 30 seconds. The UPA government had to win a trust vote over the nuclear deal. Today, it is Modi who is taking it forward. Fantastic. Now the question is, did you oppose the 123 agreement? Doesn't the same 123 agreement, which on 29th November 2007, Lal Krishna Advani said is unacceptable to the nation because it is deeply detrimental to India's vital and long-term interests, that same 123 agreement is the basis for the implementation of this deal. Should we forget what you said earlier? Satyanath Sarangi coming to the debate, please. Satyanath Sarangi and the activist versus the scientist, Mr. Balachandran and Satyanath Sarangi on the screen.
Please explain what is 123.
As we all know, Bhopal is the site of the world's worst corporate massacre. What is happening here by both the parties is a license for even worse corporate massacres. Here the corporations will be General Electric and Westinghouse. Because we know that at the core of Bhopal disaster was the design of the plant. Here again, in nuclear industry, again, it's the design that is being supplied by Westinghouse and General Electric. And Modi is indemnifying General Electric and Westinghouse and saying that it is the Indian public, the Indian taxpayer who are going to pay for the crimes, for the design defects, for the disasters.
No, you are also making assumptions that there are crimes, there are design defects, etc. You are not an expert to say that. I pit you against the scientist who's holding his hand. Mr. Balachandran, why holding your hand in that exasperated manner? 1 second. Mr. Balachandran, respond please to Satyanath Sarangi, who says basically the government is indemnifying all American nuclear companies. Yes, sir.
Arnab,
yes, sir.
Arnab,
I hear you, sir.
Give me 5 seconds. I was not holding my hand. I was putting my head over my saying, nobody seems to talk. Everybody seems to interrupt. I said, what was the point of this debate at all? Now let me answer you 1 or 2, 3 questions. First of all, India signed CSC. If somebody says they should go back and look at the IAEA. 2, India has not ratified CSC. 3, India's ratification of CSC will not in any manner be against either the Indian Act or the Indian Act against putting my head over my saying, nobody seems to talk. Everybody seems to interact. I said, what are the points?